Chris, it's an absolute pleasure to have you in the studio. For those who don't know you, they will get to know you throughout the podcast. Who are you and what is your company?
Yeah, I'm Chris Chevalier-Moniz. I'm the founder of Volta Charge Points, and we're a distributor, wholesaler and retailer in the EV charge point space.
Now, the EV market is starting to get slightly a bit crowded, but what did you see that other people missed?
Yeah, well, we started 6 years ago, and at the time there was no online distributors or wholesalers or retailers in the space. Certainly not any companies that were providing the range of charge points that we have available, and also offering customers to be able to purchase online, which is really, really important in this day and age, and also giving that 5-star customer service.
I mean, hardware distribution is not exactly glamorous, is it? But what's been your hardest commercial decision, do you think, yet?
Hardest commercial decision? I think probably letting personnel or staff go. I think that's probably been the toughest one so far for me, as I'm a people person, and I do actually care about staff, especially as we scale. It does mean a lot, I think, to make staff feel valued, to give that customer service out to your customers. So I think that's probably the toughest one so far.
And also I'd imagine as well, like having staff with the same sort of values that you do, and that same care of customer service and everything. It's not always easy to find them right people, is it?
It isn't. It's tough. I think with that you've got to, you can't hire just off the basis of you just need someone. You need to look for what values they have, and what they want to contribute in the long term to their employment. So I think it's about looking for those types of things.
Do you think actually in the UK the EV market, is slowing down, or do you think that's just overhyped at the minute? Do you think it's going to have another resurgence, or what's your take on it? Yeah,
I think that's the figures don't point that direction for us. We're only going upwards in terms of revenue and in terms of products sold. So I think that's definitely overhyped. I think we're just at the precipice of something really, really big and major happening in this country. And when people hear about EV, it's funny because I actually mentioned to one of my friends, I said, I'm actually going to be doing a podcast this morning, and she explained to her what it was about, and she said, I've always been tempted with like an electric car, but she said, I see my friends and they're having to park up, at these stations outside Aldi or other places, and they're sat there in the car for hours. She says, how difficult really is it to get one like in your home, and what are the costs and things? I mean, you must get these questions on a daily basis from people. Yeah, well, there's two parts to that, to what you're asking there. So the first part is the domestic side. It's a super easy now to get chargers installed at your home. There's lots and lots of installers out there now and offering that, and there's companies, Volta, for example, will hold people's hands all the way through the process. So if they don't know what charger they want, we'll help them, advise them, whether it's linked to their energy tariff to get cheaper energy and electricity, or they just want something that doesn't look too ugly on the side of their house. We've got some nice looking chargers as well, if you can say that. But yeah, that's on that side of things, it's become a lot easier. The other part you mentioned, really, that you were talking about public charging. So with that, it's the technology and that is growing so quickly, and when you're out on the road in a public space, you're not charging from 0 to 100. They call it grazing. So you might stop, you might have a quick 2 or 3 minutes whilst you go and get your cappuccino, and you would have topped up by 10, 15, 20%, depending on how quick the chargers are. So when you're out and about, it's more about grazing and just plugging in when you need to. It's like when you go to a petrol station, you don't always put in £100 worth of petrol. You might put in £5, £10, depends on your budget. You might put £30 in,
especially not on a motorway, Chris.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's with charging. I think people have got to sort of move away from thinking you've got to go from 0 to 100 every single time. It kind of the same as petrol, really. You just top up as and when you need as you go about your daily business. So
the other thing that I wanted to touch on was actually, you've just touched on it there, is about the cost.
Yeah.
Now that's quite interesting because, helping with energy companies and, domestic customers, are they actually catching on to it now?
Yeah, massively.
That you may have an electric vehicle and you need to charge.
Yeah, the energy companies have really, especially the major ones, bringing out specific EV tariffs. So if you charge at night, you charge a car at night, you'll get cheaper electricity. Some have got tariffs whereby you can get cheaper electricity for the whole home. So yeah, it's definitely a gateway to lowering your bills on energy. So yeah.
The other thing as well is like the service you get, because I know it's often talked about that we have to compromise either 5-star service against price.
Yeah.
But you think differently to that, don't you?
Yeah, we do. We're giving 5-star service. That's standard for us. That's not extra. You don't pay an extra for that. With regards to cost of chargers, they are actually coming down in price because there is more competition. So the manufacturers are fighting to gain people's attention. So yeah, prices are definitely coming down, and you still get our 5-star service.
How important, you mentioned a word there, the manufacturers.
Yeah.
How important is manufacturer control?
Yeah, for us, we only work directly with manufacturers. So we don't buy through third parties. We don't buy for other wholesalers or anything. We only buy direct from manufacturer. And that's so that we can hold them to account on product standards, on customer service, making sure their products have the latest technology, giving them that feedback from installers and from consumers. So yeah, that's our mantra. We only work direct with manufacturer.
The other thing that I would say is, as well, you can keep that quality control.
Yeah.
Because the thing is I would imagine now, like in many other industries, the people I interview, there's always like the scam artists, there's always the ones doing something, we can do it cheap and cheerful.
Yeah.
But then you're going to have a problem. Yeah,
totally. Well, I get approached probably on a daily or weekly basis by different EV charge point manufacturers. We've got certain tick boxes that they have to comply to for us to even have a conversation, and then we always visit their manufacturing facilities as well to check on their processes and how products are made, and yeah, like you say, holding them to account to product standards.
What are some of the red flags though? What are some of the quality things that you look at and say that's an absolute non-negotiable, and I can't believe other people are manufacturing other things that are substandard?
I think it's looking against the brands that we already supply and matching the standards that they have that's in the market versus those other manufacturers. But I think it's anything that it doesn't comply with UK standards or European standards is a big red flag.
Now let's talk about the staffing. Because to do this job, you must need really good salespeople, staff. What makes them different? What makes your staff different in that realm?
I think it's training. We have manufacturers come into our offices to train us. And we also go out to manufacturers' facilities for training. So literally in the last week, we've had a brand called Easy. They're a Norwegian brand, and they've been into our offices to train our staff on their latest products and the current products updates. We've got another training session with a large DC manufacturer, which is next week. The guys are excited for that. And then last year we did product training both with our staff, but in conjunction with the installers that we sell to. So it's an installer training day with a brand called Indra. So we're constantly doing training, constantly learning about our industry. I think if you think you know it all, I think that's the moment that your company stands still and stagnates.
That is the good thing, is the training. It's what you put behind a business. And if your staff aren't well trained, well, it's all going to go to pot, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'd imagine also in your field that it is always evolving.
Yeah, totally. We've got, so on the horizon that's coming, we've got technology called vehicle to grid or vehicle to home. So the idea is that your EV can store electricity and then you can reverse the electricity back to your home to power your home. Or
that's clever.
Yeah, so that's on the horizon. There's 3 things that need to line up at the moment. So that's the car needs to be able to do it, your battery storage if you have one, the energy provider, and the charger. So those things need to sort of match up really on that.
That is absolutely phenomenal. I'm just actually processing that in my brain, because I mean that is almost like your car is paying you.
yeah, exactly. So that's the idea of it. You can, especially if you have battery storage as well, then you really can make a lot of money back and sell the energy back to the grid. So yeah,
environmentally friendly as well.
Yes.
I mean, let's talk about the environment, because I mean, is that something when you first started getting into this business you thought you wanted to make a difference?
Yeah, I think so. It's I guess it's a case of you can only do what you can do yourself. You can't try and think of the big picture and tell China to not do this or not do that or any country in that sense. You can only do what you can do in your sphere of influence. So yeah, I think when I started the business, it was a case of new technology, helping the environment. And, you know, for me personally, I think, down the road, hopefully not too far away, I want to set up a charity to do some rewilding in the UK. So that is on my roadmap for me personally. So we'd love to get that off the ground within the next sort of couple of years.
I mean, obviously you said you set this business up. What was you doing before? You know, what did you want to do even as a child, and from what's been your career plan?
I think, well, starting as a child, I think a footballer. A lot of kids want to do that. And then after that, wanted to be a firefighter. I got fairly quite a fair way down the road on the process for that. I think it was the last interview stage I got to for that. I was only 19. So I think I was a bit too young. I think that's what they saw in the interview. But yeah, and then after that, I just fell into sales, and then I was working for a lighting company for about 10 years, doing business development and strategy, and working basically one-to-one with the owner of the company. So I learned a lot from him over those 10 years. How to sort of run a business, and the do's and the don'ts and the failures that he had, and the successes obviously that he had as well. So and then it just came to a stage where I just felt like I wanted to do it for myself and work for myself. And I think the ultimate goal really at the beginning was just to have control of my own life, I guess, my own destiny, and to work for myself. So that was it, and the business has just grown and evolved over the last 6 years.
I mean, you obviously there you had a great mentor almost in the last person you worked for.
Yeah.
And that helped you, set up a business. But it's not easy, is it? It's like, I think self-employment in particular can be really lonely at times.
Yeah, it's not easy. It really isn't easy. There's lots and lots of different skills that you learn. There's some that you just can't do. I think the biggest one for me at the moment is probably like the accounting process. So yeah, we're in the middle of trying to hire a bookkeeper at the moment to come in and manage more of that type of stuff. So I think, you got to learn new skills. There's skills that you just won't ever pick up, and you need to hire someone to help you with that. But yeah, like you say, it can be lonely at times. Yeah, for sure.
And do you ever pinch yourself now when you think, do you know what, here I am, I took the plunge, and here I am now, and you've got this successful business? No,
I don't, honestly. It's just not finished. We haven't reached the full potential of what this company can do. So I probably at the moment don't have any time to stop and pinch myself about anything. it's a constant treadmill at the moment, but in a good way. It's all going in the right direction. So, yeah.
Would you say that you are a techie person though? Because I would imagine that you have to be with learning about this technology, or do you think I've just fallen into this? I've fallen into this like tech world of...
Yeah, good question. Am I techie? I like learning.
Yeah.
Whether I'm techie about specific things within technology, I'm not too sure. But yeah, I do like to keep up with the latest trends on technology for sure. AI is a big one at the moment as well, isn't it?
Do you think that will ever merge, do you think, in your world?
Yeah, definitely. AI is already here. We have it a hybrid with our live chat. So for basic questions that someone will ask, that it will create an answer which is usually correct, and then you can answer that quickly. But we have someone on the live chat at the same time, so there is always a human there to correct any issues or anything like that. So we have a hybrid at the moment on our live chat. And then I understand that the manufacturers and their software about learning people's data with regards to how much electricity they're using and stuff, and all the software there will be AI for sure.
Is there in Volta, is there actually one non-negotiable that's standard that drives that performance, do you think?
I think it's customer service. It's just a non-negotiable. It really is. We try and do everything we can to accommodate a customer's needs. And listen, we don't get everything right all the time. We make mistakes, and when we do, we hold our hands up and we rectify that as quickly as we can, and hopefully to the customer's satisfaction.
You said you obviously had them brave moments of like almost going from being employed to employed. But that still is a brave step. I know, I've done it. And somebody once asked me, how do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night knowing that you've now got to find your money, you've got to find the income? What drives you?
I think it's the thrill of the chase. I think it's a bit like if anyone's watched Only Fools and Horses, even when they become a millionaire, they're still looking for the next deal. They're still looking for the next. It's that kind of. It's a buzz that you don't lose, especially if you're a salesperson. You kind of just have it in you, and ultimately that is what I am. I'm really good at sales, and that's what we live for, really. That next sale.
We have a lot of young budding entrepreneurs watchers, and they often ask certain questions. And one is, what piece of advice would you give them as a youngster? How could you prepare them in their young years, do you think, to say, well, I would love to do this as a business?
Just do it. Start small. It's like a little brick. You start with the first brick of creating the company on Company's House, for instance. Ask your mum to loan you 15 quid. It's those little things. Don't try and think you go from 0 to 100 and you go from one brick to the full house. It is literally just a brick by brick stepping stone. Each thing will happen, the next thing will happen, the next thing will happen, and life's too short to get out there and do it.
And they also think it's easy. I can do this. I've got this. I could do this as a business. It isn't always a bed of roses. What's one of the challenges that you've had in your business that you thought, oh, do you know what? I nearly could pack this up, go back to being employed.
Truthfully, there hasn't been anything that's made me think like that. It is hard. It is tough. But for me, I think, listen, if it all went bang tomorrow, and obviously we hope it doesn't, but if it did, you dust yourself down, you'd go again, and, you'd find something new to do. But I think for me, I don't think I could ever go back to being employed. I think I'd always work for myself. And there's lots of different ways of working for yourself. There's lots of different, you can be a taxi driver. An Uber driver is someone who works for themselves effectively. So there's lots of different ways of working for yourself. doesn't necessarily mean you have to own, a big corporate company. It's about, finding that balance and what you're happy with.
And I just want to touch on this as well. I mean, you were starting around about the COVID time.
Yeah.
That horrible era.
Yeah.
I mean, did that weigh a bit heavy in your mind at the time? Or did you think, no, actually, this is a good opportunity?
Yeah, it was actually an opportunity for me. Lots of bad stuff was happening. But for me, being on furlough with the company that I was with before, so that I had lots of free time, I think it kept me sane. Because I had structure in the day. I treated it as if it was a specific, as if it was my job. So I'd get up at, 7 o'clock and start work at 8 and work on the website and have a normal day, so to speak. So for me, it was a massive opportunity, and I was being paid to be at home to start my own company. So it worked out for me in that respect. Yeah.
So you could do that pre-planning. Because I've heard that from a lot of people actually who set up at COVID. I don't know how many I've interviewed now who set up during COVID, and they said, you know what, it actually gave me the time to stop, think, plan.
Yeah.
It's a shame we can't do that now in these...
I know, yeah. I found I do some good thinking when I'm driving. Like we was driving up here today from London up to Grimsby here, and I had a lot of time to think as we were driving about other stuff that we can do with the business. So, I think driving was quite good for me to do.
So is your focus then on the service and long-term partnerships? Is that strategic in how you do that, or is that a personal thing that you do?
It's personal. Yeah.
You've got to really work with them people, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I love this question, what is the biggest misconception that you hear in your realm of business?
That you have all the answers all of the time. You have all the answers all the time. You know what needs to be done next. That's probably the biggest misconception, is that the owners or the CEOs of all these companies all around the world, that they know everything and they know what the answers are, and it just, unfortunately, is not quite true. And
that it's glamorous and you live in the really high life, like you're Alan Sugar.
Yeah, that's the other one. Yeah.
You got your private jet on the driveway.
I know, yeah, just parked outside.
What would your younger self say to you, do you think?
Younger self...
Or what bit of advice, could your younger self give to you now?
Younger self give to me now.
Don't panic. Go for it.
Maybe actually, go quicker. Yeah, go quicker. Make decisions a bit quicker. I think as I've got older, maybe you get a little bit more cautious. Maybe that.
Yeah, because it can be a bit like that, can't it? It's like you have that thing where that drive where you want to do it, and then it's like, oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
And you rein yourself in a bit, and you think, no, and then you realise you must, because nobody else is going to push you, are they?
Exactly. Yeah.
Who else is going to kick your backside?
Yeah, I think that would be it. Move quicker. Yeah, I'm going to do that when we leave here.
You're going to kick your own backside.
Yeah.
How do you cope with all the different pressures? Because like we've said, you have to wear very many different hats when you're in business. Yeah. 1 minute you're doing the accounts, the next you're dealing with salespeople, the next you're doing HR, unless you've got people managing them teams. So how do you cope with the pressures?
Just day by day at the moment. Day by day, concentrate on the most important things in that day. So I'm working on this. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm becoming more and more structured about my days and only focusing on the things that really matter right now, and really actually matter to the business growing. There's some things that you have to delegate out as well to staff, which I'm doing more of. I'm learning to do that. So I think managing the pressure and stuff is about utilising the staff that you've hired, that you trust, and giving them responsibilities to manage areas that don't necessarily need my eyes. So yeah.
Future projects. I can just see like the little cogs whirring in your mind that you must have plenty of things on the go. What excites you?
I think as our industry excites me because there is so much more that there is technology-wise that's going to expand, that's coming down the track. So that's exciting in terms of new products. And also with Volta, we've got different avenues that we can also grow into, different renewable spaces that we can grow into as well. So, yeah, I know we've been going 6 years, but I still feel like we're actually still at the beginning.
Yeah.
So there's lots and lots of potential.
It's got room for growth.
Yeah, hugely.
Most definitely. Right then, well, we're nearly at the end, but I always like to ask some fun ones at the end.
Sure.
Tell us something about you that people may not know.
I think probably my love of dogs.
Yes, we have a beauty in the studio.
Yes, yeah. So I think it was about September, October last year. Me and my partner, we started volunteering at a dog rescue. So we've been doing that, and then we started fostering, and we never took the foster dog back. So she's now with us full time since December. But I think, yeah, my love of dogs in general, but yeah, I think the volunteering part, probably a lot of people don't know that I do.
Do you think that's the good thing? Because business, sometimes it's hard to switch off.
Yeah.
And then you go home.
Yeah.
And you need to have that home time.
Yeah.
To business time.
Yeah.
So do you think that that's a great distraction, but it's also a good like therapy and hobby?
Yeah, massively. It's when I'm with our dog at the moment, Xena, you're only concentrating on her and her needs, especially as she's a rescue dog. There's lots of complications that come with that, but it completely shuts you off from thinking about work all the time, and I think you do need that little bit of time away from thinking about work.
And although you're a business leader in your own right, if you could spend, say, a week with another business supremo, who would you love to spend a week with?
Oh, does it have to be specifically business, do you think?
No,
Yeah?
anybody.
I think at the moment I'd like to spend a week with Ricky Gervais.
Oh yes. Now that would be humorous as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be a lot of laughs. And then business-wise, who do I like in business?
There's so many, isn't there?
There is.
There's some real good ones. I think over the last few years we've really had like some great business leaders who we just think, do you know what?
Yeah.
You've got a great business mind.
Yeah, I think from a UK perspective, I think it'd be Deborah Meaden.
Yeah.
Because she has her hands in a lot of different businesses now.
Yeah.
And that's something me personally would love to explore as well in the future.
And she loves the environment as well.
And the environment as well,
yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So maybe Deborah Meaden, yeah.
Deborah, if you're watching, I think she needs to get in touch.
Yeah, definitely.
I think she needs a bit of Volta.
Yeah.
Anyway, Chris, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for bringing the dog in as well, because I'm now going to go straight in for a great big hug. And it's a big dog.
It is a big dog, yeah. She's an American Bulldog.
She's beautiful. And as I say, I think we're going to see so much for you for the future with just future technologies. And I think your business is going to go from strength to strength. So thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story with us.
Thank you for having me. Cheers.